Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode. It's been a while of the Robbo's Golfcast Wrestling Podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not talking about Raw, SmackDown, NXT. As you guys probably can see by the title and by the video, we are discussing Nick Khan. In the space of 2 weeks, he has become the most powerful man in WWE apart from Vince McMahon. And what we're going to do today is I found a lot of this information out. I'm going to butcher his last name, so I do apologize. But I will do his link to his Twitter down below. He's got a Discord as well, so I'll do that a link down below as well. So a guy called Tom Cologu.
Ah,
Do you know
is he
who
on
I'm on?
Sports? Is he on Sports Keto, isn't he? Or is that someone else we're going off?
That might be someone else. But
I've definitely seen the name before somewhere.
yeah, he does a lot over Twitter. He's on TikTok as well, where he likes to discuss a few bits and pieces. He's got a Discord and everything, so I'll do a link to him down below. And this is basically a shout out to him. He does a Twitch stream, reporting on some of the stuff he does, and then he uploads some of his clips to YouTube. He's a really nice bloke. I've been talking to him for a while now. Away on his Discord, and I message him as well. So basically most of my information from there. Plus, I found some other things as well that we're going to discuss about it. So, before we get into anything, and before we do anything, it's been 2 weeks, I think, since the last episode of the podcast. Mr. Gulam, I see on Twitter you've been doing the old chess game in the gym. How are you feeling? How are you been away from the wrestling world and yourself personally?
Oh, mate, just you have to excuse my voice today. I've got a bit of a sore throat. I had a bit of cough on the weekend. It's not COVID for those who are wondering, so there's nothing to worry about there. I've got my jab this week, Friday, so that's something to look forward to.
I still haven't had mine. Still
I
waiting
literally,
for it.
I got my text message. I didn't get text. This is how crap our Woodley
Yeah.
yeah
One by Tesco's.
yeah they are
Yeah.
so. I don't know who's got whoever who's doing the handles the details or anything, but for some reason they texted my dad instead of me, and then my dad had to message my mum to let them know. So then I had to call. But yeah, long story short, I booked it, and it would have actually been today, but I thought I'd get it done on Friday, so I used to have some time to relax. Yeah, how's the gym? Everything getting good over there. I've started getting my strength back up. Feel great. Feeling better than ever. I had a great leg session today.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I like to hear that. Right. A lot
I'm
of
just waiting for you. I'm just waiting for you to come down, mate, and I can give you a workout.
Dear God, this is gonna be a long time. If we hear, we'll do a bet on this, and we'll do something for that. So yeah, so it's been a while. So let's discuss Nick Khan. Let's discuss him a little bit. He was appointed in August 2020.
Yes, last year about the
Yeah, he was also instrumental in WWE partnering with Fox. He was a major part in that. Basically, since Tuesday last week, Nick Khan has now become the chief financial officer, and he is now the president of WWE. So basically, he is second in command to WWE. There will be nobody that is above Vince McMahon.
I think.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say. I think one of the reasons why he's also in the position he is as well is because he was also a lawyer before he got into where he is right now. So he knows a lot about negotiating, bullshitting, and everything. How to work it that way. So I think at the end, from my understanding, he started doing this when was it? Yeah, he left the sport. He left, I think, for the sports media department in 2006. So he's been doing this for at least 12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Just over 12 years, I think. My math's a bit off right now, but he's definitely been doing this for 16 years. Sorry, around 16 years. He's been in the sports media department. So I think people want to criticize him, being a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, when you've got to carry with tough decisions, you've got to carry with tough decisions, whether people like it or not.
We'll get
I'm
into
not saying
those. We'll get into
I'm
those
not. I'm just saying
decisions in
that
a
because
minute.
I'm just saying that bit because I think people need to understand that that's pretty much what the gist of it is. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're in that position, it's not because you were everybody's best friend. You know.
So basically, this is not a Nick Khan bashing episode. This is us trying to understand Nick Khan and coming up with what we think could happen in the future.
Yes.
Basically, my thinking. We'll get into a little bit more about him in a second. I'm just going to move the camera because I slightly got backache, and it's killing me. So basically, he's become the second most powerful man now. Excuse my face right up against the camera. I've just got to go and grab my iPad so I can get a little bit more information and can see what I'm actually fucking doing. So a question for you before we get into any further. How does it feel to you? Okay, because I know how this feels to me, and I want to get your. And I'll put my point across in a minute. How does it make you feel? And it gets a lot of stick, Vince McMahon, and rightly or wrongly so. Let's all be honest. There has been times where he rightly gets the stick, and there's times where you just got to look at the situation and go, "Okay, that was best for business." How does it feel to you now that knowing that Vince McMahon has decided now he's nearly 80. He's deciding to take a lot less responsibility on, and he's sort of. I don't think he'll ever give up control. I think the only way he'll ever give up control is the day, unfortunately, he's not around anymore. I think that's the only way give up control will happen. But what does it mean? What does it mean to you seeing that Vince McMahon is slowly not doing that much in WWE anymore?
Well, the first thing I want to say was that when you say that people aren't going to give him credit, be it Vince or be it Nick, the way I see it, I don't want to take this as an opportunity to smash smart fans, which we always do anyway. But what you have to understand is that no matter what the higher ups do, good or bad, they'll get crap regardless. Because for some reason they seem to have this belief that they look down on everyone. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So they can secure all the best deals in the world they want. They can do whatever they can to try and take this company to the next level. And people online will always say, "Oh, but the show still sucks." So it doesn't matter what you do, really. They'll always get grief for it. I can't say that I agree with everything he does, because obviously, from what we saw last week, that wasn't what we wanted. But at the end of the day, there must be a bigger reason for it. So I think that for that reason alone,
No, how do you feel?
Oh yeah, sorry,
We'll get into more about Nick Khan in a minute. We'll get more into what's happened last week in a minute. But how did you feel about knowing that? For me, this is how I feel. My childhood villain, the person who I looked at when I was younger, being horrible to The Rock, being horrible to Stone Cold, being the man that's built a company that, let's be honest, at one point was so close to going out of business because of a competitor, to now building it to what he wanted to do in the very first place, a dynasty where, let's be honest, if there was no wrestlers there, everyone would still know WWE. He's built it to a point where WWE is a household name, no matter if you watch wrestling or not. And for me to know that Vince McMahon is stepping away and slowly not losing control, giving up control so someone else can do it, it hurts.
First of all, I just want to say apologies for that. I think I misread your question a second ago, so I'm sorry about that. It's funny you say that, actually, because I kind of had this I call it a discussion. This guy just blasted me for saying it on this tweet. Basically, what happened was one of the people we follow on Twitter, he put up something about Vince McMahon stepping down and etc. How do you think the business will go? And I just said that the day he steps down, people have this belief that it's going to be a great day for the business because Hunter, Shane, stepping, they'll take it up to the next level. And all I said was that that's not going to work like that. They can do it, but it's going to take a time for them to do so because Vince, maybe I kind of got stick for saying this, but I said that Vince is kind of like what Steve Jobs was to Apple. When Steve Jobs passed away 10 years ago now, yeah, about 10, 9 years ago. Remember. When he passed away, all those years ago, like he was, I don't know how you felt about Apple, but I think Apple, lost its touch for a bit. I'm sorry, but
I still use it.
That's your problem. I think Apple I think Apple lost its touch, for a while, and you didn't see anything new from them for a while. There was no innovation, there was nothing new or anything. It was just the same crap every year, and I think a lot of that was down to the fact that they didn't have that leadership that took them to that. They didn't have that guy who could show them the way. And Steve Jobs was the guy who did that for Apple for many, many years. And I said the same thing with WWE, that the day Vince steps down or passes away, God forbid, it's not going to be an easy one for them as well. They'll most likely struggle for a bit because you say what you want about him, but the guy's he was ahead of his time. And then I got this guy blasting me on saying, oh, but I can't fully disagree with you more. Steve Jobs was still in his prime and still could keep going, and before he passed away, Vince has passed it, etc. And I'm just like, you can look at how you want to look, but that's just the way I see it at this point. You know what I mean?
Oh, I completely.
So I think so what you were saying was, how do I feel about it? Of course I feel bad. I mean, at the end of the day, I've been seeing Vince on TV since I was 6, 7 years old, maybe. He was like one of those recognizable guys I used to see on TV.
Mm.
It's definitely going to be a sad one. I mean, every time you see him on TV, you can tell that he's not 100%, the same as he used to. He's still got the voice.
Yeah.
But you can tell that he's just trying to, he still wants to be that entertaining guy. It's just not the same as it once was. But he's still in, he's still in tremendous shape. He still keeps himself, keeps himself well kept compared to some. It will be sad. It will be a very sad day when he steps down, and you know what I mean.
No, I completely know what you mean. Talking of Shane McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie, according to some reports I have seen, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm not saying this is false, I'm just pointing out the facts that I have been given in front of me. The reason why Nick Khan is in the position he is in is due to the fact that Triple H doesn't want to do the wrong. He doesn't want to be the next person to take over. It's also being said that Stephanie feels the same thing and doesn't want to be the one. They are happy and content in what they're doing right now. Shane McMahon, on the other hand, wanted to do the role, but Vince McMahon hasn't got any trust in him to take the brand to the next further, unlike Nick Khan, who has done the behind the scenes of sports programs for the past however long. So that's one of the reasons why that they're not doing it. And it's one of the interesting facts, knowing that Triple H and recently with his build to NXT has been quite questionable in certain aspects, with there not being that major builds anymore. There not being that many things shoving someone into a title, Adam Cole, baby, when he hasn't won a match in 2021. Which
no, that's fine. I can see him.
Which, if it goes to people win-loss record, and I think we've all brought up with whoever wins the most matches deserves a title shot, goes up against someone that goes with the title. Win-loss records count. I get the fact that Adam Cole just brings another to the title, but it's one of those things as well. So yeah, but moving on, interesting to see. When he was appointed in August 2020, it was always in the plan for Nick Khan to be WWE President and Chief Financial Officer since August 2020. So he's had a big build. He was promised it when he first joined WWE, and it was promised to him that he would be going up as well at the same time. His mission statement was, when he joined, according to America, apparently you need a mission statement whenever you do things. His mission statement was to bring more sports-based analysis to WWE, i.e., things that you see on ESPN in America, or as we would know, Sky Sports.
I mean, they did that for a bit. I mean, I think they still are, with Fox Sports on SmackDown.
Yeah, so the reason why we say that is the people that they've brought in since Nick Hart's done, Adyan, thank you. He was a sports person, didn't really work out. Now they've brought in Jimmy Smith to do it, who is a former MMA commentator, and they've brought Pat McAfee in, who is a former NFL kicker, and also has his own sports radio show, and he's done a lot of college football analysis as well. So that's the reason why. And the reason why they want to do that is they want to move WWE more towards the mainstream media. When I say that, it's basically Vince wants WWE to be presented like the NFL and the NBA. The way that I can do it to you guys in the UK is he wants it to be presented like the Premier League, or he wants it to be presented like fucking what other big events do we do over here?
The Olympics.
Well, yeah, yeah, you could do it as the Olympics, but the Olympics in a weekly, bi-monthly status instead of every 4 years. It's basically what happens every month. So we expect more part-time wrestlers, more celebrities, and casual. They're aiming this towards more casual fans, not the die-hard fans of like people that will watch 24 wrestling shows in 24 hours. They're looking for someone that's got nothing really to watch on telly. They stumble across Monday Night Raw. Oh shit! Look, Bad Bunny's on. Or oh shit, Brock Lesnar's back. Oh, John Cena's in. That type of thing. Let's go and check that out and see how it is this week. So they're going to do that. What do you think of that? Do you think that's the correct decision for WWE, or do you think that's the wrong way of looking at it?
Well, I don't see how it's the wrong way, because people always complain that it should be treated like a sport and everything. And I think that they're making a big deal about it, and treating everyone like like there's something. I think that's surely what your goal should be. To making this business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how it's a bad thing. If anything, it's beneficial for the company because it gets more interest to them. And if you ever watch the sports takes on it, they never looked at it like part. Well, they looked at part of the show, but they'd also go a little bit behind the scenes, if you will, with the, what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Yeah, I think it's good for them on that one.
Yeah,
Nothing at all appropriate.
I'm in very much. If you're gonna do part-time wrestlers, get people that are gonna draw. Get people in that are gonna make it. Don't keep bringing back the old people like Goldberg. Please stop bringing Goldberg back. But
Bring it
bring
back.
back people that can do it, like Brock Lesnar, like John Cena. Bring some more people back, like Daniel Bryan. Could be a draw. That type of people doing it. I will have to say as well, since he signed with WWE have had record profit. The reason why, okay, so the reason why they've got record profit is because of all of the WWE network, the Peacock deal, but the releases. The reason why the releases, and we're going to go through them in a minute because I've just calculated how many releases of WWE wrestlers and WWE staff there has been since 2021. And I've just done that before the podcast to give you all an idea. The reason why they are doing the releases as well at the same time, according to some sources and towards Tom as well, who has said is because they are expecting record low attendances and bigger production, which means that they've had to scrap wages to a point where they can build pyro fireworks so the fans are in attendance and bring more fans in. They're not expecting sellout crowds to sell out events. They are expecting SummerSlam to be a sellout, which is now in Las Vegas with a 77,000 seater stadium, bearing in mind. So we all know that that's going to be a big show. So they're
No pun
expecting.
intended.
No, well, he's in AEW. So
Come on.
I know it was a good one. So that's why they're doing it. Nick Khan, with the recent releases, was the only person to come up with the list of the releases. No one else was involved in the releases. No one else had the choice to take it, to do it or not, but he was the one who come up with the list of the recent wrestlers that were released. So what do you think of that, Nick Khan? Because we've looked at the recent releases and we'll go through them in a minute. But I'm going to name a couple of names just to go through it. Alistair Black, Braun Strowman, Ruby Riot, among others as well, have all come out and said they've had extremely good relationships with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, especially with Aleister Black, has said that he really liked him, really liked his character, but he needed a few tweaks to work on the mainstream wrestling fans, and that's what they were going to do. We all know what they were going to do with him coming out and Black massing Big E a few weeks ago on SmackDown.
Yeah, yeah.
But now there seems to be no plans for Big E at the moment. But that's all well in the time. What have you made of that with Nick Khan now, the one who's in full control of the releases and releasing talent that maybe should have
Um,
stayed, maybe shouldn't have?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was having a strange day that day anyway, so I was at my favorite place, the gym, and I was just finishing my workout. And I hadn't been on Facebook at all day. It's always like that. I'm never on Facebook, and then I come up and I see some news. And I'm just like, oh my god, what just happened here? You know what I mean? So, 1 second, I'm just take this call.
Yeah.
Hello, helpless.
Pause.
Why does it keep doing that?
I don't know. I can't change it. By the way, if you guys are not listening at home, there is a woman in our ears that is telling us when the recording is being paused, played, start. You've probably heard me say it a few times in other podcasts as well. So yeah, carry on. Nick Khan, full decision over the releases recently.
Yeah, so like I said, when I saw the report come in, it's all, you know, even I was like, as soon as I saw it got released, I think first person I saw that was released was I think it might have been Alistair's name I saw first, or Braun. I can't remember, it was one of those two. And I'm just like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, this has got to be a joke. You know, I'm gonna be, because be honest, you would never have thought in a million years that Braun or Alistair would be the first guy. Well, people always say that Alistair would get released at some point, but then there was a report not long ago that said that he'd be protected. So it was a shocker to see how that happened. In Braun's case, it was even more shocking because, you know, he was just in the title picture not long ago. You know,
According to, and I'm going to say this with a very much a pinch of salt, to some reports, the reason why Braun Strowman has been released is because before the title match, or the month before, he was told that he needed to up his promo work. And if he didn't up it, then he wouldn't be in that title picture for a long time. And according to officials behind the scenes, they didn't think he did a good enough job for what he's done. And also the choo-choo train, Thomas the Tank Engine, definitely did not help it.
I can't stop laughing every time something makes a huge train joke on this.
No.
I was gonna say you should be upset you lost your brother now, mate.
I'm slightly happy in a way because we don't have to go through this brother shit anymore. But knowing you'll bring it up.
He's still your brother, mate. Can't change that.
Do you know what? Hold on. Hold on. I was watching a TikTok the other day, and it was the picture of Braun Strowman. How did he become this? And it was the picture that you showed me, and I went, oh, I am not going to send this to Gulam. I am not sending it to him whatsoever. I hope he doesn't see this. That did make me laugh. Yeah, go on, carry on, sorry.
So yeah, as I was saying, another report I read was that was his contract they thought was just not worth the time as well, because they said that I think he renewed it in 2019, I think. So it was supposed to run to 2023 or 2024. And from what I understand, well, from what the reports have been saying, is that they just didn't see the point in, you know, paying him that much for some reason. So yeah, for them to release, I mean, I've never had a problem with Braun. You know, I've always thought he was okay. I mean, I was just, you know, a product of what they wanted to be. You know, just a big guy that could run
He
people down.
got ruined when he didn't win that world title when he was on full steam.
I think, yeah, I've said that before. And I think, you know, his best year was definitely 2018.
I think it was the year that I went to see him. I think that was when I saw him, or the year before that. I can't remember.
No, I'm saying 2018 was definitely his best year. He was on top of his game, and for whatever reason, they just, you know, I mean, I think one of the reports was that he just wasn't showing very good locker room etiquette. Yeah, something like he kept coming into work late or something. I don't know. So that's on him.
Those one of those when I read stuff like that, I look at that and I don't take that report. I go, that's just a bitter twat. trying to stir up something while he's got
You never
released.
know, but I don't think that'd be a reason for them to say,
You
he's
don't
not
get
worth the time.
sacked for being late or etiquette or anything like that.
The
You
thing is,
get sacked for attitude, and if that was it, then he would have been sacked a long time ago. I
the
think.
thing is, yeah, I agree on that. The thing is, that you have to understand is that they will look at the small things that you don't do as well. From my understanding, I mean, apparently Eric Bischoff wasn't happy with Sting not showing up to work. Well, when what was it? I think the night when Sting was supposed to win against Hogan at WCW Slam. I forget the pay-per-view now. Basically, was after the big build-up and everything. He wasn't happy that Sting hadn't, wasn't 100%. Wasn't acting 100%. He didn't look like he was in tune or everything. I think was it the body paint or oil? I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, was it his hair? Yeah, but anyways, it just something small. He was just like he's just not worth the time, and as a result of that, that night that went the way it did. Um, in Braun's case, what I'm saying is that while I agree that's not necessarily a reason to hold him back. At the same time, they can use it as a reason to be like, oh, he's not setting a good example for the guys at the back, etc. All this bullshit. So, but what I want to say is that all these reports that we hear, we can never be sure, what's going on backstage because I'm not trying to sound like a genius or anything, but we don't work there. We don't know what goes on there. We don't know who's arguing with who, who's beefing with who. We don't know anything. We just hearing it from some online people, and apparently, after hearing that, we know everything. We really don't.
Yeah, there's people that you listen to, and then there's Dave Meltzer. That's my opinion. There's
I
a
don't want
few
to get into
people
that.
like Frightful I listen to and I look at and go, yeah, okay. Sean Ross, I think his name is. I look at and
I
go,
think
yeah,
Sean Ross is the most trustworthy guy we can get at this point.
yeah. And then you got Tom as well, who is very, very he is very good as well. Right, here we go. So I've done a bit of research, basically Googled.
Mhm.
And basically, I've taken Nick Khan's full control. How many releases there have been since he's taken full control?
He came
Um,
from this year and last year. Oh,
just this
no,
year. Just this
he
year.
came in.
I am just going by 2021.
No, I
Um,
meant I technically would have been. He only came in the August as well, so that was way after the
yeah,
releases.
yeah. So I'm going by January 2021. We're not doing before then because we don't know whether he was involved in that, but I know he is majority involved in all of the decisions in 2021.
Well,
So,
I can definitely say,
go on.
I'll just count it right now in front of you because I can just
No,
about
no,
do it.
no,
So,
I've got the list in front of me, so I'm going to do it really quickly.
all right, go
Braun
for it.
Strowman, Alistair Black,
Yep.
Ruby Riot. Let's go through this batch of releases first, and I want to get your opinion on them. Okay. Braun Strowman, Alistair Black, Ruby Riot, Lana, Buddy Murphy, and Santara Garrett have been released.
I felt bad for that one.
What were your thoughts on that?
Uh, Santana, I had a bad feeling they're going to release her at some point because they called her up and they just did nothing with her, and I felt bad for her because I'm not that familiar with her, but from what I've seen from her, I've always thought that she had something with her, and she could have technically been the back. I don't want to say backup, but she could have done Lacey Evans' character, but even better. So I think that was a shame for her, but she won't have a problem getting work on the Indies easily. Uh, Ruby, I don't know what to say about Ruby. I mean, Ruby, I didn't think she'd get released in this one. I thought that they were going to give her another chance, at least because they were going to. It looked like they were going to try and give the Riot Squad something.
Right.
But for some,
My opinion on Ruby Riot is
go for it.
excellent in-ring worker. Everything else needs work. Excellent in
Um,
the ring, but her persona, the way her character was so choppy and changing. Look, at one point she was a good girl, like a face,
I mean,
and then she was a heel. But then when she was a face, she was being a heel to Billy Kay, and then she was a face, and then she was a heel.
yeah,
Look, and I think that's
it's funny.
WWE's bookings as well, not just her.
When I first saw her, I wasn't interested because literally the first thing she was like, "Oh, I'm here to break the system and all this bullshit." And I'm just like, how many times have we heard that one now? you know, it was just the same. Oh, I'm a punk kid who's the rebel and all that. I'm just like, we've seen Punk do that, we've seen Paige do that, we've seen Corey Graves do that. How many times are you going to
AJ.
see someone? Yeah. So my point is that it just didn't like. I just wasn't interested for a bit. You know, when she was a heel, then I was interested.
Lana, I get. Um, Lana, I get because her in ring has not improved, in my opinion.
I
But
think
the way she is on the mic shocked me because she's very, very good on the microphone.
I
Um,
thought she improved a little bit. I think that there was that one time I tweeted as well when I saw what she'd done in the ring. I was like, "That's Lana I'll go far, not the one that we've seen before." Um, yeah, I mean, I felt bad for her as well, but at the same time, I don't know if it was a smart idea to fire someone who, when they already know that their husband or the relation, is working in the, opposition company. So I don't know if that was a smart idea, but obviously they were willing to
I
go
don't
ahead
think
with
we
it.
can class AEW as a, and this is no offense. We're going to be start covering soon. A little bit more AEW. I'm gonna have to sit up because I'm sort of getting backache. We're going to be
It's old
covering.
age, mate.
Yeah, it is. It feels like it. More AEW content going forward because one of my favorite wrestlers has now signed there. Andrade. So
I'm happy for Manny. I'm not gonna watch AEW because of it, but I do hope that they do something with him. That's all I'm gonna say.
no, I'm very excited. So one that I'm look, the Alistair Black one shocked me, but the Buddy Murphy one didn't shock me, but I'm disappointed in WWE because he is a talent and he has the
Buddy,
work rate and
man,
the wrestling to be a star. And unfortunately they just didn't do anything with him.
Buddy, I'm surprised at that myself. I mean, I remember when he, I still remember back when he was in NXT.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man, and he's one of the guys that I definitely saw like come over the years, just improve slowly and slowly and up his game. And then he was on 205 Live and all that. It's just like, oh man, I remember one person was like, they put a picture of him and Kenny Omega, and they go, "Oh, it's Kenny Omega versus Kenny Omega," and I'm like, if you're talking about current Kenny, then that's just an insult to Buddy. I'm sorry, because current Kenny ain't got shit on Buddy Murphy. That's what I'm gonna say.
So the other releases now, if we're going to go through
However,
Velveteen Dream, Jessamine Duke, Vanessa Bourne, Skylar Story, Ezra Judge, Alexandra Wolf, Kavita Devi, Daniel Bryan as a question mark because he has been released, but there is still contract talk, so he might be back. Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Wesley Blake, Mojo Rawley, Andrade, Big Show, Steve Cutler, and Lars Sullivan.
uh,
Yeah,
I wouldn't really count Steve Cutler in that.
well, it was released.
No, because he was released he was released way before those things. That
No,
was
he was
over
released in
COVID
January.
thing. Yeah, but that was still the COVID thing. That wasn't about the
Yeah, but he was still
cutting down.
released in January. I don't care how they got released, but they got released.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think it really counts as a cut though.
I do. It was on the list that I found. So
Yeah, fair enough.
staff that have been released. So Tom Phillips, Agnan Verk, Susan Levison, who was the senior vice president or head of WWE Studios, Dan Humphreys, who's the international vice president of communications, Brian Belegim, senior vice president of production, Jay Rosenstock, who's the executive vice president of international. Someone Nolan, Vice President of Media Operations, James Wortman, who is the digital media. They've done Agnan Verk twice in this list. You bastards. They
Poor
got
guy.
Jayla Dolan, who was the executive vice president of WWE Advanced Media Group. We got Drake Younger or Drake Wirtz, who was the
Fuck him.
NXT referee. Jake Clements, the NXT referee. Mark Carano, senior director of talent relations. Nicola Swell, who was the director of talent relations. Maid Rust, who was the vice president of communications, and Joe Villa, who was the managing of public and corporate communications. This list does not contain, at the same time, there are staff that have been merged into other departments. There has been staff that have been released that Tony Khan, not Tony Khan, Nick Khan, sorry, Tony Khan's AEW, that Nick Khan has decided that it's just a waste. But what I will say as well, at the same time, everyone on this list that has been released by WWE has been given a severance package, which will mean that WWE's releases and the money, the profit that they make will go down into certain points because of the money that they have to pay the people. If we go by the Gallows and Anderson, they would just signed a 3-year extension to their contract, so they would have got a bigger payoff because of their release, which they could have taken, or
But they
just
didn't, did they?
apparently they did. At the same time, everyone on this list will be given a payoff because they're somewhere in their contract. They might be paid what their remaining contract would be, or they will be paid half of it up front. So they will get money. It's not like they're just throwing down them out their ass. The plastic
It's funny.
bags might be back as well, but that's what it is. So in total, since the start of 2021, there has been a total of 43 people, that wrestlers and staff, that have been, as that future endeavors chat that they get since the start of 2021. That just seems, and
And you
most of
left
the
out.
sorry, one second. Most
Yeah,
of the
sorry.
WWE studios are basically, they're merging departments together. So there was a section. This is no joke either. There was a section in WWE where if you searched wrestling into a Google search or something, or anyone that did that, you would instantly get a video about WWE. They would find people that were instantly searching wrestling and making sure that there was a video of WWE as soon as you did it. That was their job. That was it. And that's all they did. But they're not there anymore. They have been either released or gone to a different department. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
I was gonna say you left out the you left out the guy who apparently gave out the release. You had to talk to the guys to release them, and that was good old Johnny himself, Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis.
He's still fucking there.
No, I'm saying he's the guy who gave the
Yeah.
people the release. He's the one who he sent the messages.
Yeah. So yeah. One question. This is going to be the one of the last questions on it. There have been rumors. There has been talks that WWE are gearing up for a sale. There has
Yes.
been a lot of talk of that. The question I have for you is, one, do you think it will be sold? And two, hold on. I also want to point out as well that we're doing the negative side of Nick Khan, but he has openly said as well at the same time that he wants to work with other wrestling promotions. In the future, there might be a partnership with AEW, not at the moment. At the moment, AEW have a strict partnership with Impact Wrestling, but they have a open relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. There is talk that Nick Khan is having conversations with New Japan Pro Wrestling to work together, but I think the talks will be stopping for a while because of the releases, and because everything with that doesn't look great on WWE at this precise moment. So we'll do that. So my question is to you is two-part question. One, we're not saying this is happening. We're not saying we're hearing through the grapevine it's happening, but this is what we think. Do you think that WWE are going to sell? And if they do, is there a future that WWE is still around?
I'm just gonna say anything's possible at this point. The way things are going these days. People like we see Disney buying this, we see Amazon buying that. And all
By the
this
way,
stuff.
Disney are one of the mentioned names that want to buy
Yeah.
WWE.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So to that, I'm just gonna say it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I can't say that it will or it won't, but to me, I think anything is possible at this point. Every business, everyone's after the best deal they can get hold of. Yeah, I mean, I've always heard, from various people, from Triple H himself and Stephanie and Vince, etc., that they're always open for, you know, open to talk. So, yeah, actually, I'll say I can see it happening anytime we want it to happen.
It's interesting.
It'd be interesting to see who they sell it to and how they handle it, though. I don't want to see. I mean, I'm liking SmackDown on Fox. I can't say the same for Raw, but SmackDown on Fox to me has been on top of its game for the past 2 years now, maybe.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I hope that my main hope, and this is my main hope. This is not me sucking WWE's ass, but by the way, this is me giving Opal. Look, I love that they're the fact that we are now back to the old territory days. Okay, we're now back to we have big promotions in America at the moment. You've got Impact Wrestling, you've got AEW, you've got WWE. The AEW will grow from this, and that's great for wrestling because that will mean that there is more people watching wrestling. The same with Impact Wrestling. If they get their workings right and get their stars back and the way it should be, then they have more opportunities to grow as well. You've got AAA in Mexico, that is one of the well-known, that has got one of the best lucha libre wrestlers you'll get in the world in that place. You've got NXT UK, you've got Progress, you've got ICW,
Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground as well. You in the UK, you've got NXT UK, you've got Progress, you've got ICW, you've got so many promotions in the UK now that are starting to grow because of WWE, and we've got the promotions in Germany, Portugal, Spain. Plus around the world that are getting more and more. Japan, you've got New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom, as well at the same time that's going on. Look, my hope is when my kids grow up that they have a WWE type of wrestling promotion around to watch. When I was a kid, there
Well,
was
certainly wrestling
Rock.
fans for a starter.
Well, don't care about them. Um, so in my opinion, I want, even if WWE disappears and AEW takes over, then happily watch AEW, and do that, and I will support all wrestling no matter what. I will give my humbled opinion
No,
about them all. I don't care if people want to take digs at other promotion. Look, do you do whatever makes you happy. But when my kids grow up, I want there to be a promotion that they look at and go, like I did with The Rock and Stone Cold. And with my kids growing up now, they've got the opportunity to have that with Roman Reigns. They've got the opportunity to have that the good guy in Drew McIntyre, in NXT. They could look and go, oh, Pete Dunne, he's from where we are. Tyler Bate,
right.
Mustache Mountain. There's more English wrestlers, British wrestlers as well at the same time going through WWE that will relate to more to my kids. So look, whatever happens, happens. There's no if, buts, or maybes in the future of wrestling. We never know what could happen. But all I say is, and I will say this, and everyone needs to realize this, is let's all support each wrestling promotion. We don't have to watch it. You don't have to be on board with most things they say, but it's a wrestling promotion that we can get behind. Look at AEW. I know I'm going on a rant now, but I need to get this off my chest. Look at AEW. Look, I'm very much at the start of AEW. I hated it because they weren't a wrestling promotion. They were, let's take a dig at WWE. And what have they become? Yes, they've signed some WWE wrestlers. Yes, they've done that. But if WWE creative can't see Andrade being a star, they can't see half of these people. Look, Samoa Joe, you've got Mickey James, you've got Big Show,
The thing about
who's
Mickey
gone
James
there.
is that yeah,
Oh,
the thing
God.
about Mickey James is that
Yeah.
she got injured a few times, so it's not they only. I think that was really just a case of they were looking out for a best of interest, and it just got a bit like twisted
Mhm.
around this. And that's I can't. I think in some cases they just get a bit they misunderstood, if you will. That's the way I see it for some in some cases, and obviously so and so gets offended by that, and then I'm trying to say. So
Mhm.
I think it's one of those things where it's just like no matter what they do, they just get shit for. You know what I mean? In some cases,
Who's that? WWE.
yeah.
Yeah. I get that, and they're always going to because they're so big, and because they're so popular. There is always a way that someone's going to twist it in a negative way.
Always, especially when you got dirt sheets that are always doing it as well.
Exactly. So you've always just got to um just go with it and just take it and just go on with it. Look, I'm now going to watch AEW more because of Andrade. I'm also interested to see what happens at Double or Nothing in Chicago, because that's going to be a massive event. and I'm very much looking forward to watching that as well. So it's an interesting time in wrestling. Let's all just get behind the wrestlers and do what we can for them. Let's all try. And I'm a victim of that as well. And I will say that I have been one of those people that takes digs at other promotions that's not WWE. And I'm also ones that to call out WWE for shit that they do. They do some crazy ass
I
stuff
mean, I agree with you. I
as well
agree
at
as
the same
well.
time.
Like when I
So
see them, it's like when you see them. Like if I see them doing something stupid, of course I can't defend them on that, can I? You know.
apart from the choo choo train.
I never had a big problem with that until people started making jokes about it, and I just started breaking out laughter. What I wanted to say, it's funny you mentioned Braun. What I wanted to say was that Braun's release caught me a lot by surprise as well. When I found out he got released, my instant thought was I remembered this quote that he had been quoted on when he was asked to. I don't know what the question was, but apparently it said something along the lines of the day he finishes with the company, he's not going to go anywhere else. He's just going to hang his boots up and you know, what I'm saying? That's the promise they made to Vince. A part of me, after seeing what's happened, I would like to see if he's going to keep. I don't mean I'm not trying to take a dig and be like, always going to keep his promise, but it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. And I've said it before, I'll say again. I think he'd be a great fit for New Japan Pro Wrestling. They, they, the shape he's in right now. He's probably in the best physical shape of his life. He looks like he's I don't know. I think there's so much they can do with him, so much he can do, and I think Japan will be the perfect promotion that will get it out of him. I will also say I remember it was a year ago. I don't know if you remember this. He got called out for well, I don't think he was trying to be a dick or anything, but he made a comment about some of the indie guys that were doing these GoFundMe pages. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And he got shit for saying that because basically everyone was like, oh, it's because you never had to grind it on the indies, so you don't know how difficult it is and all that. And I think people have this misconception that people coming up from developmental haven't had to struggle when technically they've had to just as much as the next guy. Not necessarily indie struggling, but they have to work at as they call it, the armories, the small shows, the house shows, setting up tables and chairs, etc. Just like you do an indie show. It's not that different, but obviously the biggest difference on the indies is that you don't get paid. Simple as you don't you'll get paid either a hot dog, as they say, or $50 or whatnot. So I think on that note, people had to go up Braun for not having that kind of experience to understand how difficult it is. So what I'm trying to say is that I reckon that Braun going on the indies, he'll get that understanding, he'll get that experience, he'll be able to understand that, the difference, what it's like outside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just see how it all goes. But yes, right, we've got to wrap it up because I'm extremely fucking tired. I had to leave my house this morning at nearly 10 to 7, nearly 5 o'clock. Wake up at 5 to go to work and all that crap. But we've all got to do that. So no excuses. I haven't done this in a very long time. So I will be in bed in about 20 minutes once I've uploaded all this. So yes, so this will be ready with you guys. We're coming back to doing weekly next week. We will be stopped talking about everything else. We will be introducing AEW to next week. We will be putting them into our weekly Raw, SmackDown, NXT talk. We will be introducing AEW into it. We're going to be talking a little bit more about them and having little chats about it going forward. So yes, so thank you guys ever so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week. That's a fucking thing then. I literally said 2 seconds ago, we will see you guys next week. And then I had to think anyway, I'm tired, Gula.
You need to take your pills, mate.
No, my happy pills I've been put in the bin because I don't need them at the moment.
You might want to go in the bin, mate.
It's not happy pills. I think I just need energy. I'm slowly dying. By the way, if you guys can click off this, this is just me and him talking now. If you want to listen, you can. Do you know what? Right. So I wake up every morning at 5. All right.
This is what you put on the blooper show.
Yeah, we don't have blooper show. This is you just take this with an episode, right? So I wake up at 5, and I got a dog now. So I go downstairs and I go and take it out of its cage for it to go out and have a waz and a shit outside. And the one thing that I have learned is when my dog gets extremely excited, it pisses itself. So what I have
What dog
found,
have you got?
it's a miniature Labradoodle something.
Okay.
So it's fucking long. It's like 3 breeds into one. It's confusing.
You picked him.
Actually, yeah, I did. So what I have found is when you're really tired and your dog's excited and it wazzles, be prepared to step in piss.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what wakes you up in the morning.
It wake me up. I went, for fuck's sake, fucking piss.
Oh
Yeah.
God! I bet your neighbours have that as well.
And normally my neighbours would go, "What the fuck is he doing?" I don't know actually. The neighbours don't talk. They're very quiet, very secluded.
You just pick the best places, don't you? I
Yeah,
bet
but
you they were like,
I have a
I
pissed
bet
them
you
off.
they were like, they were like, this is such a quiet neighborhood. No, no
We've
disturbances,
been
no
here for
people.
years, bearing in mind.
And
So
all of a sudden, you just turn up and you start making noise and shit.
how
You
long
just
have I been here
imagine.
now? I've been here. How old's my daughter for? About 3 years now. 3, 4 years now.
Okay.
Not that long, but yeah. Right, I'm going. I've had enough of you. And by the way,
Same, same.
not you guys at home, because if you guys can please like, share, send this to a friend, tell a friend we are going to be doing more AEW stuff.
Ugh.
It's going to be fun. I'm actually looking
Yeah, of
forward to it.
course. I'm looking
Um,
forward to it too.
I'm not looking forward to Martin Luther King, Avenger Cody Rhodes.
Oh
Um,
God.
but do you know what I am actually looking forward to? And this is a little sneak peek into next week. Anthony Ogogo. Apparently, he's been
Oh, I
no.
keep laughing about that name.
This is not a
I'm
joke.
gonna be against him. I'm not gonna be against him. I think
No,
he's all right.
apparently he's doing really well over there.
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. I mean, I never
And
said anything
also he
against him.
doesn't answer my DMs when I ask him to come on the podcast. So
Probably thinks you're after something else. Now, what I was going to say was that I remember when he got signed, I wasn't that interested because it was just like, oh, WWE signed this guy, they get shit for being a boxer and all that. But that said, I mean, I never said that he would never make it. It's just how they'd use him, and I know
he
that.
was a very entertaining. He had the mouth. I remember him when he used to box, and
Oh, okay.
I was quite a fan of him when he was boxing.
I was surprised when I found out he's only 5'11" or something.
Yeah, so he was a very entertaining boxer. He was the old gif of the gab, used to say things. Then he got injured by a very nasty eye injury
Young,
that
wasn't it? Yeah.
broke his socket and all this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he got told that he couldn't box anymore. But then he was good friends with Cody Rhodes. I mean Martin Luther King. I mean Avenger. By the way, what you'll get
You
is
Homelander.
we are doing AEW. It doesn't mean I like Cody Rhodes. Okay, I can't stand him. All right. If there's one wrestler that is overhyped, it is him. By the way.
Don't forget Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
That got you quiet for a second.
Yeah, I've got to be careful what I say about him. So anyway, so Anthony Gogo had a very bad eye injury, and he did a lot of Olympic boxing and did all that type of stuff. Become professional, got a really bad eye injury, moved forward, and then he retired. Got good friends with Cody Rhodes, and he's always liked boxing. Not boxing. He's always liked wrestling. Always tweeted about it. When the shows when WWE's on, he's always tweeted about it and does stuff like that. So to see him now doing more stuff in AEW, I'm excited to see where he goes. As well as we've got Jungle Boy versus Kenny Omega for the AEW title, because Jungle Boy beat Christian for the Over the Top Memorial Battle Royal, over the top, whatever it was, over the top battle royal thing, who beat Christian for it, to get it. So it will be Kenny Omega. I'm excited to see that. Sting doing backflips. I'm quite excited to watch that. So yeah,
It's worrying that he still have to do that.
no, I don't know how that man does it. He is built to wrestle forever, I think. Fair play to him. So yeah, so we will see you guys very soon. And don't do that with your arm. That's a really dodgy way of holding your arm out. And bye.